Tonight on Reporting Scotland, a kind and caring young man. Tributes are paid to 16-year-old Caden Moy, who was killed after a disturbance including a large group of teenagers at Irvine Beach on Saturday. Also on tonight's programme, fishermen have accused the UK government of capitulating to the EU over a deal on access to British waters.
A 12-year free access deal. I'm actually wondering if it's a joke and someone's going to say it's actually wrong.
Salmon farmers and shellfish exporters have welcomed the reduction in border checks for food. Cases of racism or racist bullying in schools rose by 50% last year.
Coming up in the sport, after steering Dundee to Premiership safety, Tony Docherty is sacked as manager.
My name's Sam and I'm going to be the mascot for the Hibs Rangers game.
And we follow Sam on his dream day out as his parents campaign for a drug that could keep him walking for longer. Hello, I'm Laura Miller. Welcome to Monday's programme. Tributes have been paid to a 16-year-old boy who died after a stabbing on Irvine Beach in Ayrshire at the weekend. Caden Moy from East Kilbride died in hospital following a disturbance involving a large group of teenagers on Saturday afternoon. Today, his mum posted on social media of the family's devastating loss, while staff at his former school called him a kind and caring young man who was full of character. A 17-year-old boy has been arrested in connection with the incident. Hope Webb reports.
A kind and caring young man full of character. That's how 16-year-old Caden Moy has been described by his former head teacher at Duncanrig Secondary in East Kilbride. And today, flowers were left at the scene where the teenager lost his life on what was one of the hottest days of the year so far. The 16-year-old was seriously injured after being stabbed during an altercation involving a large number of teenagers on the Ayrshire beach. He was rushed to Crosshouse Hospital in Kilmarnock, but died as a result of his injuries on Sunday. This is the road that leads down to the north end of Irvine Beach and what is ultimately the crime scene. It remains closed today and officers are continuing to carry out their inquiries to establish exactly what led to Caden's death. It is significantly quieter here today than it was on Saturday, and speaking to locals and visitors this afternoon, they say there is a palpable feeling of shock in the area.
It's devastating. Absolutely devastating from being obviously living in this town since I was obviously quite young as well, and then moving out to hearing such a devastating thing happening. You just don't really expect it, especially on a nice sunny day. People just want to travel to the coast and enjoy the beach with their family, and do you know what I mean? It's no nice at all.
I'm quite shocked about the whole news about the stabbing. Really disturbing.
Didn't surprise me, but obviously it is very heartbreaking, especially so young as well. The fact that a lot of the type of crime is happening amongst teenagers. Yeah, it's just really shattering to hear about.
A 17-year-old boy has been arrested in connection with Caden's death. It's thought a number of young people may have filmed the incident on their phones, and officers are urging anyone with any information to come forward. Caden's parents have also paid tribute to their son on social media and thanked people for their kindness. His dad described him as my best friend, my everything. Hope Webb, Reporting Scotland, Irvine.
A win-win and slashing of red tape, or disastrous and a capitulation. Sharply contrasting reactions to a new UK-EU deal unveiled by the Prime Minister today. Here, the bulk of the criticism has come from parts of the Scottish fishing industry over a deal to extend access to British waters for EU boats. And the Scottish Government has criticised the lack of consultation over the deal. But others, including the salmon industry, say it means Scottish products and people will have easier access to the EU. With more, here's our Westminster correspondent Rajdeep Sandhu.
Pulling away from the EU was the point of Brexit. But now these deals under Labour mean we'll have a closer relationship. And for parts of the fishing industry, that deal will last 12 years. The government says it gives stability. Others say it's a joke.
What we've got in here, a 12-year free access deal. I'm actually wondering if it's a joke and someone's going to say it's actually wrong. What's Keir Starmer and the UK government actually thinking about giving away access to UK and Scottish waters for a further 12 years.
But not everyone in the fishing industry feels that way, especially as it's been made easier to sell food into the EU market.
It will reduce cost, it will reduce bureaucracy, and it will also make sure that the product arrives quicker with our consumers all across Europe. That's really important when we're competing with Norway and Chile and other countries around the world. That's why this trade deal is so welcome, and it's good news for our industry.
The Prime Minister said the deal on fishing was a good one.
Protecting our access, rights and fishing areas, with no increase in the amount that EU vessels can catch in British waters. Our fishing industry will also benefit from the new SPS agreement, which slashes costs and red tape for our exports into the European market.
The Scottish seed potato industry will also be able to sell into the EU market, something which they haven't been able to do since Brexit, while there's an expectation of more jobs in the North Sea and more investment in defence.
Well, it's great for Scottish businesses, great for Scottish exporters, great for Scottish economy, but it's also great for Scottish consumers. It will mean that we can get our goods and services into the European Union without any of that red tape, which is what the industries have been crying out for since we left the European Union.
The Scottish Government wants a closer relationship. It says these deals don't go far enough.
Whilst there's been some progress on Erasmus, on a youth experience mobility scheme, we've seen the progress on the animal and food and drink deal. Quite clearly, this does not undo the damage of Brexit. And the UK government locked themselves in from the very beginning with their red lines.
While the Conservatives have called it a betrayal of Brexit.
When we take a step back and look at what this will mean, the fact that EU fishing boats will have access to British waters for another 12 years, that we will be tied into multi-annual negotiations. The only country in the world that shares a coastline with the EU that's tied into a multi-annual deal, that's not conducive to Britain's best interest. So I really do think this is a bad day for the UK.
Deals with the EU come with a lot of scars and baggage. This Labour government are hoping it can shed some of that and use them to deliver what it promised, a better economy and more opportunity. Rajdeep Sandhu, reporting Scotland, Westminster.
Well, let's get the thoughts of our political editor, Glenn Campbell, who's in Holyrood for us tonight. Glenn, why is fishing so controversial in this deal?
Well, I think fishing is not just an industry, it's a way of life for many in coastal communities on both sides of the North Sea. And I think that is why it's so sensitive when it comes to negotiations of this type. You'll remember some of the loudest voices in Scottish fishing accusing Boris Johnson of betrayal when he struck his post-Brexit agreement with the EU and included continued access rights for the EU fishing fleet into UK waters, and it's no surprise that that sense of betrayal is felt by some today, with Keir Starmer announcing a very significant extension to those rights. But in return, he has also secured smoother access for food and drink producers, including those who produce fish products, into the EU market. And I guess that overall his calculation is that that prize is worth more than the price of some very angry fisherfolk.
And Glenn, how do you assess the Scottish Government's response to this deal?
Well, when you consider that the UK government had ruled out rejoining the European single market or the customs union, I don't think there was anything Keir Starmer could have announced today that would have received a wholehearted welcome from SNP ministers, because ultimately they want to get back into the EU. And I thought it was interesting that the Deputy First Minister today suggested that the best way to do that would be through Scotland becoming an independent country. And whilst much of the energy has gone out of that independence debate for the time being, at least, if Scotland did become independent, there would of course have to be intensive negotiations between Edinburgh and Brussels on the question of EU membership, and that would lead to many trade-offs, perhaps some of them including fishing rights.
OK, Glenn Campbell at Holyrood, thank you. The First Minister, John Swinney, has condemned the violence by football fans at the weekend as utterly unacceptable. 9 arrests were made after some Celtic supporters caused disruption on Saturday in Glasgow city centre to celebrate the club's Scottish Premiership title win. On the same day, Aberdeen defender Jack McKenzie was seriously injured by a fan who threw part of a chair onto the pitch. The number of incidents of racism or racist bullying recorded in Scotland's schools has increased by 50% in the last year. Figures obtained by BBC Scotland News show that in 2023 there were 2,400 racist incidents. This increased to 3,600 last year. Campaigners say the true scale of the problem could be far higher. Our education correspondent Lucy Adams reports.
Hector's daughter Anissa was forced to move schools last year because of racism. Anissa was only 7 when the bullying began.
She started questioning why was she different, and started questioning because obviously her hair, she's of mixed race, so her hair's curly, so she was like, why is my hair different texture? I've got brown skin, people don't want to play with me because of all these things, so she did start questioning things.
Hector raised the allegations with the school multiple times. She feels they failed to support her daughter and later found out they had recorded the incidents as bullying, not racism.
I don't send my child to school to be abused or to be a victim of racism. I send her to school to learn and to be safe. I face racism at school, and I think I'd felt 30 years down the line that the systems would have been better to address some of these things.
Campaigners say the true figure is far higher, as councils are not complying with guidance to log all the incidents.
We do know in the current climate that hate crime reports have actually gone up and incidents have gone up. Our previous research in 2022 indicated that 85% of schools are not reporting incidences that have been reported to them. If we're not recording them, how do we know that the incident is being dealt with in any way?
East Dunbartonshire Council, where Anissa went to school, said it takes racism and bullying very seriously. It said teachers and school staff are offered very clear guidance and professional learning relating to bullying and equalities.
Well, the updated guidance on responding to racism and racist incidents includes guidance on recording and monitoring in particular, and that relates to a historic challenge that we've had in that we have 32 councils whose approaches to recording and monitoring can differ. So we want clear and consistent recording and monitoring across the country.
This is our school's anti-racism charter.
At this school in Glasgow's East End, the pupils have written their own guidelines.
Because I didn't like how people were getting bullied for their skin colour. When we started looking at the Glasgow City Council Anti-Racism Charter, we thought it was too, we didn't understand any of it. We thought it was too hard for kids to understand. So we went and we kind of changed it into child-friendly language.
I want to get involved in this group so we can stop racism around the school and in our community.
The head teacher proactively took a course in tackling racism.
I had recognised that there was a rise in racist incidents, and we were hearing language and terminology that we hadn't heard for a very, very long time. Now, I've been teaching in Glasgow for over 20 years, and it was new things, and I thought, I really want to tackle this head on. It's not acceptable.
For Hector and Anissa, this is not the end of the story. The Ombudsman is now reviewing their case. Lucy Adams, reporting Scotland.
Well, they're going to be talking more about this on the news at 7 over on the BBC Scotland channel shortly. Laura McKeever is here. Hi, Laura. Who are you hearing from tonight?
Hi, Laura. We have an organisation that's helping children and parents to support them through any racist incidents that they might be enduring at school. We're also going to speak to the Scottish Fishermen's Federation about that Brexit deal. Fair to say they are not happy at all tonight with it. And we're also going to be hearing about an old printing press in Blairgowrie that some people want to bring back to life. So that's all coming up at 7 on BBC Scotland.
Lovely. Thank you, Laura. Now, a star of the BBC drama called The Midwife is appealing for funding to protect the future of a Scottish theatre which inspired her to become an actress. Laura Main is backing a campaign to save Aberdeen Arts Centre, which is facing the threat of closure. It comes after a recent funding bid was rejected by the City Council. Louise Hosey has more.
For more than 60 years, pantomimes have been among the productions at Aberdeen Arts Centre.
There was nothing there, oh no there wasn't.
But now the theatre's future is uncertain after a funding bid was rejected. Call the Midwife star Laura Main says performing at the centre as a child inspired her to become an actress. She's backing a campaign to save it.
When I first stepped, foot in this place at the end of the 80s, that was the moment that sort of made my life go in a certain direction.
One of those shows was the musical Annie, in which Laura played the title role.
You need to wait here.
Now starring as nurse Sheila Taylor in the BBC hit drama Call the Midwife, she says the possibility of the centre closing is unthinkable.
It's just a really incredibly special place that means an awful lot to a huge amount of people. The thought of Aberdeen losing this place is quite frightening, really, and it would be tragic.
After having a funding request turned down by Aberdeen City Council, the campaign aims to raise £660,000 over 3 years.
We've got this fantastic building, but the maintenance and the cost of heating and lighting it is significant and rising all the time. We have 35 different community amateur groups that use us. 35,000 people come and see our shows, and some of those groups actually have 200 plus children who need backstage space. They need a venue like this, which is friendly, it's small enough not to be too daunting for them.
Aberdeen City Council says the centre continues to receive funding to cover rental costs. Those fighting for its survival hope the plea will be heard to keep this treasured theatre open. Louise Hosey, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Lewis. And Premiership season coming to an end, but still lots of drama.
Plenty still to get to, Laura. Football always provides that, doesn't it? Thanks very much. Hello there. Well, former Dundee captain Cammy Kerr says that he's shocked at the timing of the club's decision to sack manager Tony Docherty the day after securing their Premiership status for another season. Rangers-bound midfielder Lyle Cameron scored twice in a 2-0 win against St Johnstone, which confirmed a 10th place finish for the Dens Park side. But a Dundee statement said the team's results have not met the standards expected. Kerr believes the decision will have taken Docherty completely by surprise.
He'd fully expect to be in charge come the summer. I think he would have probably had, things like transfer targets, etc. in his mind for going forward. It's definitely not the season that he would have wanted, the club would have wanted, in terms of where they were last year. So it's been a disappointing season, and I know that there's been a bit of frustration from the fans, and at times probably rightly so. But they got over the line when they needed to. So massive. It came a massive shock to him as well.
And you can watch more of that Cammy Kerr interview on Reporting Scotland News at 7. So here's a look at how Dundee finished up in the league, meaning it's Ross County in a playoff against Livingston over 2 legs. And here's how the Dark Blues fans are reacting to Docherty's departure.
I'm not surprised at the news. The results have not been good for 2 seasons. The performances have not been very good. Losing so many points from winning positions.
I was actually a bit shocked. I was at the football dinner last night and Tony gave a speech and he was going on about how he was looking forward to next season, rebuilding the team. So obviously the news this morning to see him go, there's a bit of shock. So we'll see what the club's got planned.
Sometimes the football club make decisions for reasons we as fans don't understand. So I don't know.
Who'd be a football fan sometimes. Now, Derek McInnes says he's joined Hearts to deliver trophies to the club's supporters and adds that he jumped at the chance to move from Kilmarnock as he feels the Tynecastle club has huge potential. McInnes' appointment was confirmed this afternoon. He didn't comment on whether out-of-contract Scotland internationals Craig Gordon and Lawrence Shankland will stay with the club beyond the summer, but he did have this message for the Hearts fans.
We can have a brilliant thing going here. I think we've got a lot of the tools that's needed. I do believe we can win silverware, and that's got to be the objective right from the get-go, and have that sustained level of success, whether that's creating more and more value on the pitch, getting into Europe year in, year out, going the full way in cups, and eventually exceeding expectations in the league. As a bare minimum, we should be in the top half of the table, getting amongst the European spots. I think that's what Hearts fans expect.
Scotland head coach Steve Clarke is using next month's friendlies against Iceland and Liechtenstein as an opportunity to look at different options after naming 7 uncapped players in his squad, including Hibernian striker Kieran Bowie. The 22-year-old forward scored in the 2-2 draw against Rangers on Saturday and makes a senior squad for the first time. Rangers midfielder Connor Barron and Motherwell's Lennon Miller are among those looking to earn a first cap.
Kieran's one that I've always had my eye on from the under-21s. Anytime I watched the under-21s, he always stood out. Big physical, strong, good attributes to his game. And going into the summer, you've got people like Lawrence Shankland, Kevin Nisbet, who I know what they can bring to the squad, what they can give to me. So it was just to have a look at something a little bit different and see if we can expand the pool of players. I keep talking about trying to get a bigger overall pool of players that we can select from. And these games are probably a chance to have a look at one or two.
To the women's game now, and there might be a few sore heads in Leith today after Hibernian pipped Rangers to the post on the final day of the season to win their first league title for 18 years. It was a winner-takes-all contest at Ibrox, with Rangers knowing a draw wouldn't be enough to lift the trophy. Hibs scored the only goal of the game, and it came from Lindsay Taylor in the second half, sparking jubilant scenes at the trophy lift and a great interview with the match winner too.
It doesn't feel real, to be honest. I don't think it will for a number of days, but it's what we've been working for all season, and yes, a lot of as McGuff said, I think a lot of people wrote us off, but I think we knew what we had in that changing room, and we knew if we stuck together, like, anything was possible, and I think it's safe to say we were daring to dream.
Well, we have a story of another young sports fan now, Lewis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there he is.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, you might remember Sam Miller, an 8-year-old from Edinburgh, who we spoke to last month about his life with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. He was fighting for access to a drug which could keep him walking for longer. Well, young Sam also happens to be a huge supporter of Hibs, and the club have helped him fulfil his dream of leading out his footballing heroes onto the pitch at Easter Road. Suzanne Allen has more.
My name's Sam, and I'm going to be the mascot for the Hibs Rangers game.
Today, Sam's dream will come true.
What are you most looking forward to then?
Walking out with Martin Boyle.
And you're going to be kicking a ball about in the grass?
You wish you can come on, Dad.
I do.
You're just going to be sitting in your seat and I'll be on the pitch.
I'm very jealous.
Yeah, I want to go now.
He's going with Dad Stephen to his favourite football club, where the mascots will meet the players, have a kickabout on the pitch and lead the team out. First, it's to the dressing room, where one of his idols is there to greet him.
Dwight Gale.
You sound big man, you good?
Yeah, right?
Hey, when did you get your hair done?
Yesterday.
Yeah, that's nice, man.
Thank you.
I might have to get the same.
I have your top on again.
In the dressing room, the players take selfies, sign shirts and chat to the mascots.
You're going to score.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I've scored this season.
Sam has a progressive muscle wasting disease that affects the whole body. Mobility declines daily, but his parents have been campaigning for access to a drug called Juvenistat. It's currently being offered free on the NHS, but the extra care and monitoring it takes mean at the moment NHS Lothian can't offer it.
We know it's not a cure, but it will give him a better quality of life. You know, it will give him an extra few years, hopefully, on his feet.
You've seen a little bit of a decline in Sam, especially over the last 6 to 8 months. We just want the best for Sam, to enjoy the things that he loves, going to Hibs games, playing with his friends, playing football in the park, and if those drugs can prolong that and give him that opportunity, then we'd travel to the moon and back for it.
The big moment has come. This is the stuff dreams are made of. For Stephen, the day is poignant.
He's absolutely delighted. He's given his best and he's having fun. Proudest man in this stadium. Definitely. Very emotional.
Oh, what a day for Sam and his family. OK, Christopher is here with the weather. This all week, is it?
Pretty much, yes. Scores of photos like this one coming in from our brilliant weather watchers today. This one taken by Lynn in Shetland. Sunshine and blue sky, and certainly the week ahead, a lot more of that to come.
Gorgeous.
Tomorrow. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening to you. Yes, we've had a pretty decent day of weather once again, dry and sunny. There has been some areas of cloud around. There has been a few showers actually. This is the satellite radar picture from earlier. You can see some showers in towards the southwest, and with the thickest cloud through Argyll, 1 or 2 spots of rain. But as Laura suggested, the week ahead is predominantly dry thanks to high pressure holding on. But a few features here and there moving in. That means there will be some areas of cloud, and for some, 1 or 2 showers at times. Let's take a look at this evening, and plenty of evening sunshine, those showers in the southwest fading away, and then it's dry with some clear sky overnight. But you'll notice towards northern and eastern coast some clouds, some low cloud, bit of har, moving inland at times, temperatures around 4 to 8 Celsius. And certainly first thing tomorrow, for many it's a dry and fine start, but around northern and eastern coasts a bit of grey weather initially. It shouldn't last too long, it should clear away, and that means for most of us as we approach the afternoon, bright and sunny, pleasantly warm too. But like today, some unstable air aloft will trigger a few sharp showers in towards parts of Ayrshire, Dumfries and Galloway, maybe South Lanarkshire as well, but they're hit and miss. Most will avoid them. For many, it's dry and sunny. Inland temperatures 20 to 22 Celsius. Always cooler and fresher around the coast, and certainly around northern coast and the Northern Isles, a moderate north-northeast wind. Into tomorrow evening, and those showers fade. It's then dry with clear skies overnight. And that takes us now to Wednesday, which will be another dry and fine day. Lots of sunshine around once again, but you'll notice some thicker cloud in the far north, a cold front working its way southwards with 1 or 2 light showers for the Northern Isles. Elsewhere, though, once again dry, temperatures up to 21 or 22 degrees. And then beyond Wednesday through Thursday and Friday, high pressure just about holding on. But as we approach the weekend, low pressure returns, moving in off the Atlantic, bringing some weather fronts, bringing some rain. But you can see on the outlook there, right through the week, for most it's dry with some sunshine, then the rain arrives at the weekend. That's the forecast for now.
Enjoy it for now. OK, thank you, Christopher. And that is Reporting Scotland for now. I will have your late news at around 10:30 tonight. Remember, The 7 is coming up shortly, just over on the BBC Scotland channel. Until then, from everyone in the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.